Thank you everybody for being super punctual and welcome everybody to our Global Innovation Exchange webinar. Today we are focusing on France. As you know, we have been setting up this Global Innovation Exchange to help more international companies land into Hong Kong and explore the Greater Bay Area. So thus, today's conversation is super relevant because we're talking about how French tech is moving towards the East. And you can see on the screen today, we have a very handsome panel of speakers. So you'll be hearing from them very shortly. But before I let them speak, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Josephine from Hong Kong Science Park and from the New Ventures team, really helping international companies explore Hong Kong as a market and come into Science Park. Now, as I mentioned, this is the French chapter of our Global Innovation Exchange. Just to recap what Global Innovation Exchange is, this is a network of international chambers and consulates that are based in Hong Kong. We actively help international companies springboard from Hong Kong into the Greater Bay Area, as well as help mainland companies explore international markets. And how we do that is through events like this. So we do a lot of information exchange, but we are looking to do more pitching events as of July. So if you're interested to do and participate in this exchange, do make sure to scan the QR code. We're looking to attract more and more international tech companies to pitch towards some corporate mainland companies. So if the mainland and GBA market is of interest to you, definitely scan the QR code to learn more. Just to recap, this was the launch event of our Global Innovation Exchange that literally just happened 2 months ago on March 31st. We were welcomed with over 17 different countries, consul generals, and international chamber representatives. So you can really see how international this network is. These are the companies and corporates that have joined us to participate and pledge their support to the Global Innovation Exchange. You'll see there is a lot of European companies and counterparts that have already approved and joined us, but we're looking to expand the network to Asia as well as the Middle East. And in terms of the mainland side, just to quickly recap, from Hong Kong Science Park, we do have our Shenzhen branch that we're actively helping international companies enter, but we also have locations and partnerships with Guangzhou as well as Hangzhou. So with these two particular locations, we actually have collaboration platforms where if you're part of Science Park, you can also actively leverage our partners' facilities, their partnership network, and offer business opportunities in these regions. So this is all part of the Global Innovation Exchange Network. Again, if you're interested, please make sure to scan the QR code and join us and learn more. So that's it for me. I'm actually going to pass it to Emmanuel to share more about what the French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen does and how he's facilitating French companies to explore the Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. So pass it on to Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. Today, I would like to explore how La French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen is building a powerful bridge between French innovation and Asia's most dynamic tech corridor, the Greater Bay Area. Our goal is to show you why Hong Kong and the GBA is the most exciting expansion opportunity for French startups right now, and how our community makes that journey easier. As you know, La French Tech is a French state organization helping French startups to grow and develop. And the communities are actually the proxy for this. So La French Tech is not just a local initiative. It's one of the world's largest startup support networks. So we have 19 French capitals across France, 28 French communities, and 78 international communities spanning 57 countries with over 3,000 startups involved and about 1,100 volunteers that are powering this network. So members of La French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen are actually plugging into that whole ecosystem. At La French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen, we are a group of volunteers. We dedicate our time to develop the ecosystem. We have about 15 members in the board, and we have been recertified by La Mission French Tech last month for the 2026-2028 period. We are a very unique community, in fact, the only one in the world present on two sides of a border, leveraging on the peculiarity of our ecosystem, the Greater Bay Area. Our mission has essentially four pillars: bridging French innovation with Asia's tech hub, supporting startups as they expand into Asian markets, attracting innovation, talent, and capital to France, and building strong partnership with local institutions and ecosystem players. So, in fact, we actually having a very similar mission than HKSTP, which is why we are collaborating. And we have obviously an active presence in Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and the wider Greater Bay Area. Let me share a couple of numbers that show the current momentum. We have about 900 active members, entrepreneurs, investors, corporate leaders on both sides of the border. In 2025, we organized about 19 events, including roundtables, conferences, reaching out more than 700 participants. We also hosted more than 20 partner events across the region. And our community focuses on several important topics: AI in deep tech, robotics, advanced manufacturing, hardware, electronics, green tech, climate tech, fintech, medtech, biotech, and low altitude economy. Looking back at what we have in France, we have 18,000 active startups in 2025 with 33 unicorns that employ more than 450,000 people. So that's a 4.6% growth year on year. The French startup raised 8.2 billion euro in 2025. And France has been the number one in the EU for foreign direct investment for 6 consecutive years. So we have a diverse ecosystem. Software leads with 31%, then we have green tech 11%, industrial startup and marketing tech at 9%, health 7%, and deep tech at 7%. So Paris ranks as the Europe number one startup hub and fourth globally. But importantly, we have 56% of the startup outside of Paris. La mission French Tech aims to consolidate these results. So, as startups are looking for growth, internationalization is a powerful lever when the company has the maturity, economics, and strategic rationale to support it. And there is one key as well: choosing the right market is often what will determine their success. So now let's talk about our local ecosystem. So Shenzhen is China's Silicon Valley, if you wish, but with one difference: there are factories. We have over 30,000 tech companies and 25,000 high-tech enterprises. Shenzhen is the number one in China for international PCT patent filing for 22 consecutive years. It invests 6.46% of GDP in R&D. That is higher than other places in China like Shanghai. But what makes it truly unique is that actually it's a market-driven model. So 90% of the R&D investment comes from the private sector. There are many strengths: hardware, robotics, AI-enabled manufacturing, biotech, EVs. Also, very important point for French tech startup is that prototyping is the pace is unmatched anywhere in the world. So it's actually, if you want to develop a product or prototype, Shenzhen is probably the best place in the world. Hong Kong is also very important in the Greater Bay Area. It's a 88% tertiary economy with $672 billion in exports in 2025, leading up for finance, law, and international business within innovation infrastructure like HKSTP, Cyberport, and the new Rotao Shenzhen Hong Kong Innovation Zone. We have a very good incentive like visa and talent attraction programs that make it easy for foreign founders to set up. The GBA itself, nearly $2 trillion of GDP, and 86.8 million people. So basically bigger than the Tokyo Bay Area. 85 million TEUs through all the ports, 7 airports, expanding to 17 runways by 2035. Everything connected by high-speed rail and mega bridges. So leading sectors, AI, green tech, EV, biotech, advanced manufacturing, they align perfectly with the French strengths. Okay, so let me share with you the strategic framework to enter the market. Actually, first, you can use Hong Kong as your landing pad. We have many good positive examples of many French startups that came here. So it gives you global finance, easy internationalization, legal certainty, IP protection, and last but not least, a great living environment. Then you can use Shenzhen as your build engine. You have access to hardware, AI, manufacturing, as I said before, rapid prototyping, and a big, very deep talent pool, actually. And then the Greater Bay Area is your platform to scale. You have the supply chain depth, the massive consumer market, capital access, and speed to market. So actually, the timing is perfect. China is pushing for control internationalization of Shenzhen. GBA is accelerating green transition and AI adoption. Hong Kong is regaining momentum in the last 2 years. And many major infrastructure projects were completing as well in the last 2 years. So there are many measures that allow companies to scale from Hong Kong. For example, if you take the medical industry, you can sell your products in the GBA if you are registered in Hong Kong. So there's many, many incentives that are very positive in terms of market. Now, the sector's alignment between France and GBA is quite remarkable. Actually, in AI and robotics, we have companies like Mistral that are world leaders. Actually, right now, they have customers in Hong Kong like HKSTP. In green tech, we have good expertise in France in energy transition and circular economy. So that meets the GBA massive green push. In health tech, French biotech and medtech startup can access one of the world's largest healthcare markets in the GBA. In deep tech, in France, we also rank among the top globally. And in industrial innovation, robotics, electric vehicles, advanced materials, Shenzhen ecosystem is the perfect complement to French R&D. So there are huge opportunities for collaboration, and trust me, this is an understatement. There are a few, let's say, downsides that people could think about in terms of sovereignty or some sensitive industry. But to be honest, there's so many ways of collaboration between France and China that it's a no-brainer. Now, how does La French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen help you? So technically, what we're doing, we're providing a platform so that you can network in our community of 900 plus founders, investors, and corporate leaders. We make introductions to key players like HKSTP, Invest HK, Shanghai Authority, and Shenzhen Tech Clusters. You get access to Team France and the local institutions to our network. We organize regular events, roundtables, workshops, so on and so forth. And one good thing is that we also offer free or very low-cost access to exhibitions like KinoX in April or LIPIST that is coming in July on a French Tech Pavilion. So what we are doing, we are connecting we're connecting you to the broader French ecosystem through the international network of the French Tech. And we help you navigate the Greater Bay Area ecosystems to accelerate your prototyping, manufacturing, etc. In short, we can help you access markets, capital, talents, and partners in Asia's fastest growing tech region. So you can join us. It's free. Come here and actually replicate the many success stories of the French startup in our ecosystem. You can, in short, use Hong Kong as your landing pad for Asia with this world-class financial and legal infrastructure. Use Shenzhen as your prototyping and scaling engine. As I said, nowhere else in the world you could go so fast from idea to manufactured products. And then explore the great opportunities in the GBA, be it for partnership, market, innovation. Hopefully, we'll meet you at VivaTech in 2026. We'll be on the Hong Kong booth, of course, and we'll be around with the French Tech. Thank you. I hope that was helpful.
Thanks a lot for sharing so much about La French Tech, Emmanuel. So now we will go on with a panel discussion. I would like to introduce the panelists. First, we have Bo Ji, who is the Chief Representative for Europe, Chung Kong Graduate School of Business. And you obviously heard Emmanuel just now, who is the President of La French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen. And last but not least, we have Amaury, who is the co-founder and CEO of Circular. So I'll just remove the screen because we would love to see your faces while you talk. First question I have is for the other two speakers. Just introduce yourselves briefly, what you do, where your background is from, Amaury and Boji.
So just a quick presentation. So thank you for having me today. My name is Amaury. I'm the founder, as you said, of Circular, which is a brand that was started in France in 2019. And we moved to Hong Kong about a year and a half ago now. We make smart rings. We were one of the first ever wellness and health smart rings to come to market back then. And we're currently scaling all around the world, and we're doing this from Hong Kong. So I'm super happy to be here, and yeah, happy to have this talk.
Thanks for that, Amaury. Jibo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Boji, and I'm the Chief Representative and also the founder of Asia Star Program. So we bring startups from around the world and a lot from Europe. I personally live in Paris, so we have a lot of French startups join our programs to go to Asia. So we are in collaboration with Hong Kong Science and Technology Park for that. So our idea is to help startups to really gaining momentums in Asia. Now, our business school is Chung Kong Graduate School of Business. We're a leading business school in China with campuses in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong, New York City, and London. We've been very proud that we have a lot of startups join our school. So far we have more than a few thousand startups join our various programs, and including 151 unicorn founders who join our various programs in the past 5 years. So this includes some of the iconic entrepreneurs such as Jack Ma of Alibaba, founder of Rednote, and founder of TikTok, and founder of Temu, and founder of many other companies like Trip.com, etc. So I'm very happy to share some of our perspective in the past 10 years from educational point of view, how the startup should aim to come to Asia and to be successfully scaling up here.
Thanks a lot for that, both of you. I'm sure you've already heard from Emmanuel, but I would like to start the first question from Emmanuel. So I would like to talk about the mindset of what founders underestimate, really. So when French founders come to Hong Kong or Shenzhen, what do they typically misunderstand first about the ecosystem or about how to translate relationships into business?
Well, first, I would say that it's a very different market. And then again, we are one country, but also two systems. For me, after 20 years here, including 14 in mainlands, I think I start to have an idea of how things work. But I would say it's not going to be the same as back home. So you need to be curious and open-minded. I think people also underestimate speed. Here, everything is extremely fast. And I think is one point to keep in mind. Also, don't underestimate the market. People are not waiting for you. I just talked about speed, so it's a very important point to keep in mind when you come here. And if I need to pick up a last one that cross the first one a little bit, is that China is not one market. Think about it as Europe. It's a very fragmented market. You've got different regional laws and consumers and things like that. So that's why I think in that sense, coming to Hong Kong is actually a shortcut in many cases. Actually, if you're going to settle in the area.
Great. So next question will be for Boji. What's the biggest mindset shift that is required for European founders, let's say, that is trying to bridge the East and West? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, so I think the biggest mindset shift for me, for French entrepreneurs to come to China, to Asia, would be to shift from market expansion to ecosystem adaptation. In the whole Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and the whole sort of Asia region, so ecosystem is one of the very important platforms. So you have to think very holistically about that. And so the question is to ask yourself, how do we fit into that a different ecosystem? Either you develop an ecosystem or you become part of it. I would highly recommend to fit into an ecosystem rather than developing it, because it takes enormous investment and also time to do that. And also, Europeans are often emphasized on precision, long-term planning, optimization. But in Asia, they all often emphasize on speed, as Emmanuel just mentioned, and also experimentation. One of the Harvard Business School professor, Christopher, once mentioned that you need to experiment and make small mistakes, not the big mistakes. So it's very important that you come to Asia, you need to emphasize on experimentation and also fast iteration. So success really comes from adaptability and curiosity. So from East-West point of view, the Europe brings the quality, trust, deep expertise, and technologies. In Asia, it's really emphasized on the scale, speed, and digital ecosystem. So the winning founders often became a bridge between these two. And the last I want to emphasize is that in France, you bring a tremendous technology and ideas to the table. But on the other hand, when you wanted to be successful in Asia, you need to have the local embeddedness, which means that you need to identify opportunity locally and resources locally. Oftentimes, you need to build a local team in order to achieve that, because you don't have that to come with you.
Great. So what I got from both of you is speed is ultimately the key. Both of you really emphasize that point. So Amaury, you are a founder yourself. So what was the first real learning you had after arriving, and what assumption changed your plan?
Yeah, so just for context, we were in France and Paris for maybe 6 years before moving here. And we already had some partners in the regions, whether it was logistics or manufacturing or distribution. And sorry, but it's going to be very related to what my two co-panelists said. It's very much related to speed and adaptability. We visited Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and the area a couple times before deciding to move. And we very quickly realized that we needed to be very more hands-on, needed to be here and present. If it's not yourself, it's another representation that you have here on the ground. But it's extremely important because, and I really am saying this firsthand. I've seen, I used to manufacture in France with different partners, and now everything is here in Asia. Being here is extremely important because it goes so fast that you're gonna miss so much of the momentum if you're not here. You need to go visit your partners, you need to talk in person. There's also small details, of course, the time zone changes, etc., that don't make it easier, but there's so much upside of being here. The scale is way bigger. The effectiveness and the quality is, in many cases, at least in my own industry and consumer electronics, better. And so you need to capitalize on that. And there's no better way than being here. So the first thing I realized in my first visits is I actually need to move here.
Wonderful. So I would like to move on to a different topic. Let's say the first 60 to 90 days. Emmanuel, this is for you. What are the top three ecosystem moves that founders should make, let's say, in the first 60 days?
First, I would say you need to anchor yourself in the right networks. And actually, in Hong Kong, it's very easy to network. It's very easy to meet people. And I think it's key because, especially if you're a newcomer, you definitely need to meet people and understand the place. Second, as an entrepreneur, I would say if you can secure one win, a quick win, a fast one, that would probably give you confidence and that would give you some sort of credibility footprint, and that will help with what's coming next. And then the third one, maybe, I think you should, like I said, and it's coming back to what I said in the first time, you should just get curious about your environment. Try to understand it, because the truth is it takes time. Say, for example, I always say, if you're going to live in mainland, probably it takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months before you really start to understand your environment, right? So it's just be curious, be open-minded, and yes, that's my third recommendation. So that would probably fast track your success.
Understood. So, echoing on that, Boji, I would like to ask you, in the first 90 days, what milestones should founders aim for to make them credible to investors and partners? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I think it's a very valid question to ask. And oftentimes, founders have the misconceptions for this. For me, I think what's important is to focus on proof, not perfection. A lot of startups focus on perfection, particularly from Europe. It's emphasized, as I mentioned early on qualities and technologies. But once you're in Asia, your main goal is to help, to reduce uncertainty. It's very important that you gain that credibility to the investor and partners. You come here, you have to prove yourself. And one of the important proof is to help them to understand that there's less uncertainty for that. So oftentimes you need to turn assumptions into the evidence. So a very strong validation signal would be the first paying customers. Like if you have a group of the first paying customers, that's a very important validation that your product, market fit is there, and then you're ready to ramp up and scaling up. And second is like pilot projects. If you've done a small pilot project, any which is successful, that would be something very important. Or you sign up strategic partnership deals, or letter of intent, or user engagement retention, or you have repeatable customer acquisition. That would be very important. So I think investors are looking for the speed to adapt to the market, the speed of learning about the market, and also the momentum, and how you adapt yourself into that is very important. So for me, those are the important things, rather than you make your product very polished and very good product, but rather you focus on delivery, focus on the initial acquisition of the customer.
That's wonderfully put. Rather than chasing perfection, chase speed and efficiency and get that first customer validation. Very good point. So, Amaury, if you had limited time and budget, let's say, what are 2 or 3 decisions you would make first in Hong Kong or the GBA area?
If I had to start over again, so if I'm from France or European country and looking to move here, there's actually quite a lot you can do beforehand as well, before moving. I mean, as Emmanuel said, there are many, many different institutions that can help you. And Hong Kong as a launchpad, as said also, is probably the most friendly too as a first way of coming into the region. And it was super easy for us. Given you need to know some of these names, but once you do, it's fairly easy. You can talk to Invest Hong Kong, HKTDC, HKSTP, of course, La French Tech. All of these organizations can help you very easily understand the ecosystem, kind of what is the system, how to set up your company, what are also the different schemes that are available. And once you get to know these, what we did and what we're happy to have done is that we came a couple of times, as I said, we had meetings, physical meetings with some of these partners, but also other partners we've met through, for example, exhibitions or events that we came for here as well. There are so many of them. And again, these different establishments can help you get into these events. It's fairly easy. And so if you mix the different institutions you talk to the people and partners you're interested into that you meet at these events, well, you can easily get a week full of meetings, which is what we did, and we met so many people. And given it will cost you the cost of the actual plane ticket, but other than that, it's a lot of networking. It cannot hurt. It is not too expensive. And once you have that in place and you gain confidence, then it's up to you to decide if you want to move or not. But I think it's a very good starter to understand how good the ecosystem is actually.
Great. It's all about networking, is what I can get from that. So let's move on to talent and partnerships. So, Boji, this is for you. How do you translate that we have a strong team into like we are investment ready? So, if they're looking for cross border growth, what are the signals investors actually look for? You already mentioned some, but let's say the top most reliable signal that investors look for.
Yeah. For me, I have to repeat this very point that investors invest in execution capability, not resume. So when you say we have a strong team, that usually is not enough. You're perhaps talking about your resume, talk about how good they are, but it doesn't address the very important concern that the investor has. How does that amazing team are able to execute so that they're ready to invest? So for me, there are a few key signals that you are investment ready. The first is complementary capability, that among your funding team or your top management, that you have a right combination of people in charge of product, commercial, operations, marketing, etc., that you can work with complementary skills and then you can deliver actually. And second is obviously the sign of being able to execute, such as product launch, customer, the close the customer deal or partnership, or you solve certain problems for that. The third is adaptability and cultural intelligence, that you are able to learn very quickly, operate across the culture, and build the trust locally, and gaining the local resources is very important. I've done some research right now about this and in academic sort of level, which we found that to bring the overseas sort of capability with local embeddedness is one of the very important things. So I hope you don't take this lightly. Your success largely depends on how you are able to channel the local resources, the local capabilities for that. And fourth is the ecosystem and networking access. Are you able to access, those not just partner, but also customer talents and local opportunity? And finally is the leadership clarity, the ability to lead in a cross-cultural team. And that's very important. So my final conclusion is that you have to move from description to evidence. Don't say just I have a strong team, but rather we have demonstrated our ability to execute and scale up.
Absolutely. Proof is ultimately what will get you the funding, and it's the right thing to strike a balance between all the founders. Greatly said. So, Emmanuel, moving on to you. What role should the tech ecosystem in France play in talent and partnering? Like, where should communities help, and where should founders own their execution?
Well, I think founders should own their execution. I just told you what the French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen was. So technically, we are volunteers. So we're not going to do the work for you, but we are putting together that fantastic platform where everybody can communicate. We make introductions, we open doors. That happens in many occasions. Like Amaury was there during InnoX, right? Circular had a small shared space on the French Tech Pavilion, for example. But I was not selling his products, right? Or I was not making the sales pitch. So actually, he's owning his execution, right? He's doing his homework. And so I think that's the point, that we are part of French team, so we're connected with the institutions on both sides. We having quite many requests, sometimes from press, many times from entrepreneurs, founders. And what we're trying is to, as much as we can with the time we can dedicate to that, is to, share our network, open our network, and just give people that platform. Then what they do with the platform is what they own.
Great. So It's just unlocking the platform that community will help support, but ultimately it's the founders who should do the execution.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So moving on to Amaury, how did you find and validate the right partner or customer? What was the proof that you got that convinced them to move forward with you?
So for us, we sell mainly B2C, so end customers are found a bit differently. So I can speak into our experience about finding mostly partners. Obviously, we need a lot when we make hardware products, suppliers, logistics, and whatever you name it. We actually found a lot through different trade shows. We found them also through different networks. So again, it's a lot of networking, but I guess it's part of the job seeing, what's current, what's happening on the market. Have a lot of suppliers also coming to trade shows here in Hong Kong. There's many in Shenzhen, of course, as well. So you're at the forefront of what's doable in terms of electronics in the world. There's no better place to find suppliers actually. So that's mostly how I found some suppliers. The key thing also is understanding that they move very fast, as said before, and so it's actually easy to validate them because things move fast. So if you want to validate a certain partner, well, then you can go from R&D to prototype to first small batch in just a matter of a couple weeks, which again, a lot of positive things in France, but consumer electronics is a bit slower. And you go from, as was said before, also from a whole lot of planning, which takes months, to execution at the end of these months of planning, to actually iterating straight away, seeing how it goes and making it better, which really divides the lead times. And so you try this a couple of times, you find different suppliers and partners, and then in the end, you find the right person and you gain trust, you validate, and it's only scaling up from there.
Great. As I've been hearing throughout this discussion, it's the speed that ultimately matters. Like, just do it, just get it done, get the proof of concept ready, talk to all these manufacturers, validate, and that's how to move forward. So, with that, I would like to move on to the next question. Boji, again, starting with you. So, let's talk about go to market and investor market fit. So, for a French company, let's say targeting the Hong Kong or the Greater Bay Area, what should come first? Partnerships, the product localization, pilots, or hiring a good team? And why do you think so?
I think obviously first is hiring a great team. There's a lot of great talents already exist in the Greater Bay areas. China alone has more than 33% of world, technology people. So there's a specific term actually for that called STEM. So 33%, it's a largest in the world. So I think it's a advantage to hire in local term. And these people, not just technical people, but also commercial people, they are able to really help you to gain the local resources for that. I think that would be the first thing someone should do. A lot of startup had the misconception that they should bring their own team from France to Greater Bay areas. So of course you can bring your funders and some top people over there, and or even your technology people over there. But I would say that in the past 40, 50 years, China has developed a lot of talents thanks to the multinational company who are in presence in China, in Greater Bay areas. So now there are no lack of the talents. So you should take advantage of that. And they are actually quite hardworking as well. So it's a great advantage to do that. And of course, product market fit is also very important. You have to think about local adaptation. Many multinational companies made a lot of mistakes when they first go to China, including some of the large companies. But you should consider the local customer, particular behavior in terms of shopping and also their particular needs for a certain quality of product as well. I think this is relatively very easy to adapt. But also at the same time, don't underestimate your own products. So for instance, like French fashion, right? So if you go there, you start to change the Hermes, how that was designed for the local market, then you're really killing yourself because some of those attributes of your product is exactly what made it successful globally. So you have to balance between the global sort of quality brand image versus the local adaptation. Maybe your selling process could be localized, but not your product itself. So it depends on situation.
So you say that hiring is the most important thing. That's very interesting. And I'm sure founders will agree. So moving on to Emmanuel, what role should the French tech ecosystem play in talent and partnering? So let's talk about when a founder asks, who should we meet first? What's the best starting point based on common founder objectives? Let's say, should they meet customers, VC, corporates, or talent?
I guess as an entrepreneur myself, I think momentum is the most important. Sales, sales, sales. So I definitely go for customers first. Try to create a footprint. Some like I said first, some small wins. I guess having several maybe smaller customers is probably more important than finding a big one. Because you create that local footprint which I think is really important. So yes, I would definitely recommend customers rather than prestige. Again, we have some examples of startups that came here with a clear roadmap targeting B2B clients. They also found big local investors at the same time, and obviously that helped them keep on their development. So it just depends on what you want to focus. But again, I think momentum would be the most important.
Great. It's momentum that carries everything forward. If you get the first customers, you'll automatically get the rest as well. So, Amaury, what did you learn about sequencing? Let's say what felt logical in France, but it did not work or was less effective in the Hong Kong Greater Bay Area.
Again, I have to take this back to manufacturing, which is what we've been doing for the past couple of years. But I think there's a preconception also that our positioning as a brand is more of a high level top of line product compared to our competition. So we really need to keep quality up. I think one misconception was thinking that we could lower quality and cost of making coming here, and that's exactly not what we wanted to do at the same time. So we were scared that we couldn't be able to sustain the same level of quality. In reality, what's happening, especially in consumer electronics, is that manufacturers in the GBA have gone through so many quality processes and are getting so good at certain manufacturing processes that we found expensive manufacturing that comes with great quality. And we've seen our quality go up. We didn't expect this, and we were super happy about this, but less defect rates, less time also having to work on. Again, it goes back to timing and speed and reliability, but less time on planning, on QA, quality assessments, etc. Everything is integrated here. So don't expect quality necessarily to go down. Don't expect to do all of these month-long planning. Here, we can get both combined, and it's only founder friendly. I mean, there's no other reason not to come here for this reason. So
Absolutely. So, just to add on to that point, Hong Kong and the GBA area is actually ranked number 2 in the world for ease of doing business. So, it just adds on to all what you guys said. So, with that, I would like to wrap up and ask you one final question. So, if you had to give a checklist to the founders, what are the first 3 actions that the founders should take starting now? Let's say we start from Boji. You can go first.
Yeah, so the first checklist is to book a flight and learn Chinese. Well, I'm kidding. But I think it's start to really do some research about the local and then also to try to figure out who will be your customer, how your product can fit into that market, and to start to search for partners here and start to talk to talent agencies in terms of funding potential team for that. This you can start to do at your location in France, for instance. And then once you're here, then you will, figure out to do. There's a lot of, helps already there. Hong Kong Science Technology Park, your organization and Emmanuel's organization, and also our team. We have the HSR. We can also help as well. So this is a very important aspect. So if you go to our website, you will find ckgsb edu.cn. You will find our Asia Star program, or you type into the Google search, you will find Asia Star program. We can help you as well.
Great. So, Emmanuel, what do you think? What are the top 3 things that they should be doing now?
Well, I think Boji already said it all. But yeah, I would say, maybe if you want to explore the market, actually joining your soft landing program would be a good thing to do first, because I think, as I said in my initial presentation, there's so many opportunities. And I think actually studying these opportunities could be a first good move, right? Second one, obviously, you could join the local associations. Some people join the Chamber of Commerce, join La French Tech Hong Kong Shenzhen, all kind of local associations that will serve that purpose that I named before, which is networking and understanding the ecosystem, because it's very important. Third one, I was also same as Boji. I was actually thinking about finding partners. You don't necessarily have to find a local partner, but I think understanding of the market is very important, understanding of the environment. So that's part of your exploration, but maybe you could find partners like Amaury did for manufacturing, could be partner for sales. They could be partners for R&D. There's many areas where you could find partners, and that could be useful to the founders.
Great. Unlocking the partners is absolutely essential for any company. So last but not least, Amaury, what's your take?
Yeah, so if booking a flight straight away seems like a big step, you can still, stay at home, but network from home as a first step. I mean, you have these events. You can meet La French Tech and HKSTP at Vivatech, for example. Start discussions there, and then from there, Emmanuel talked about HKSTP soft landing. Try to see if it's a good fit. We went through that as well. We did that step. We get connected very easily to other people in the ecosystem that can, again, show you the different ways that you can work here in Hong Kong and what you can benefit from here. And then you can also tie a trip, if that's of interest, once you get these conversations to Hong Kong, tie that in with exhibitions, and it ties in also to what Emmanuel says about finding partners, whatever the partner may be. But finding here locally different partners at trade shows is one thing, tying that with meetings with local networks here, and then taking the final decision. All of these things are fairly easy to do in reality. And as you said, Hong Kong is one of the most, if not the most, business-friendly place. So we felt it. I mean, it was all very straightforward. So it's fairly easy.
Great. So thank you all so much for sharing all your valuable insights and thoughts. I'm sure the audience has questions to ask you. We actually have a couple of questions already, so I will just go ahead and ask to all of you. How important is the language barrier on the deployment of business strategy? So you might face that language barrier, right? Everyone has that notion that if you are in China, you need to know Chinese. How important is this language barrier?
I personally don't think it's a huge barrier, first of all, and it's nice to have, honestly. But first of all, a lot of Chinese started to be able to communicate in Chinese, or at least using a translator for that, translation for that. There's a lot of AI assisted tool as well. No matter how good your Chinese is, you're not going to be as fluent as local Chinese. Second, I think you should be more focused on your capability and your technology, your products, the competency of that, rather than your language skills for that. And you're going to hire local teams, and they're able to do a lot of tasks without any language barriers. So I think focus on your core capability rather than something like.
What about the other two? What do you think?
Now, just on that, I would add that that's one advantage of coming to Hong Kong. Because then the language is not a barrier because everybody speaks English, right? These days, I would say mainland, more and more people speak English, but if you take it 20 years ago, then you definitely had to learn Mandarin. But coming to Hong Kong is not a big issue. The only thing you need to think about is localization of your product or service, which is another topic, and we could talk about that for hours, but that would be much more important than language indeed.
So, Amaury, did you face that while talking to any manufacturers or?
Yeah, I mean, on my end, I can only agree with what was said. I mean, it's not today. I don't have the experience of 20 years ago, but today, from me coming in just last year in Hong Kong, of course, everything is easy. There's no barrier at all with anybody that I ever encountered here. English is spoken by everyone. With China mainland partners, for the most part, it's okay. I didn't feel any barriers whatsoever. Most of the bigger partners you talk to are used to international customers, so they will have people in their teams who speak English. I've never encountered any issues so far.
Great. So, one final question. They have like two parts split into that. First is, what's your recommendation for navigating the increasing geopolitical tensions that is going on in the world right now, let's say between Europe and China in particular? And for startups operating in semiconductor related fields or deep tech, how would you navigate this geopolitical tension?
Yeah, I think I always say and tells entrepreneurs that first of all, fundamentally, we have to realize we're business people. So politicians have its own agenda. Okay, so let's not to completely sideline with them. So we have to have a smart mind that okay, smart business people should always consider business opportunity as number one concern rather than political agenda. This has been approved. At the end, your company is not going to give you money because you sideline with them. So it's you who are made it in the market. So it's the number one point. Number two, that being said, there's you have to really understand the specific regulation part of it, not to step into the mind of a certain particular sort of sanction or certain sort of area. For instance, like chips. The US has placed some sanctions on not selling the chips, certain type of chips to China, and you need to make sure you avoid that. But there's a replacement of those items, which can be borderline or completely fine with that. Then you can take advantage of those. So you really have to get into that details in order to be able to navigate through this complicated geopolitical issue. But most part of it, you're generally fine. So as long as you don't make yourself headline inside line with the local market.
For me, I fully agree with what Boji said. I think actually geopolitical tensions, you also have them between Europe and US, right? So China and Europe have many areas, like I said in my presentation, so many areas where you can collaborate. As Boji said, we're doing business, right? We're trying to create economic value, taking advantage of the opportunity. So I think in that sense, it's not an issue. Obviously, there are a couple of sectors where there is a no-go zone, but I think it's very straightforward. It's quite easy to navigate. About the IP, I think one of the points to settle in Hong Kong and with everything that's going on in the GBA in terms of legal settlement, I think it's much more protected than, say, bringing technology to China 10 years ago. So again, I think you can navigate that and manage that. If we look again at geopolitical issues, if you look at what's happening in the Middle East, I think is actually a very good thing for entrepreneurs because capital is coming to Hong Kong. People that will invest in innovation. So I think that's another thing that we're talking about, but I think this is quite interesting as well, what's happening right now.
And maybe I can just second what also Boji said. I mean, most of the time we're fine. I can think of one something that happened last year with tariffs that were ever changing every other day. We were in the middle of that when we had to ship a bunch of products to the US from here, for example. In reality, as Boji said, you need to look at the details. Most of the times you're actually fine. It's in the details that are very different from the headlines that you see how you can navigate through it, and there's always a solution. So you can always find a solution, and you need to be ready to navigate also the details of specific tensions and how they're trying to get resolved because there's always a way forward.
Yeah, I like to address the second point with 2 points. The first is for the IP protection. I have had a lot of experience in China, meeting a lot of IP lawyers from Europe. And I was invited to speak in one of the European Commission event in Beijing. So I met so many IP lawyers. I said from France, from Europe, from Brussels, from everywhere. So I said, oh, why you guys are here? They said that we're doing great here. I said, what do you mean doing great? He said that we have a lots of clients. We're winning a lot of case here. So that's why we have a good business. So I was very impressed that, okay, if these people are here, that means that, China started to be really respect the intellectual property and they're actually winning. Later on, I did some research and I find out that the court case that for the foreign companies who win the IP court case in China, the percentage is much higher than the Canada. Canada as a country that the foreign companies win the case over there. So things are changing, as Emmanuel was mentioning. So don't be so scared. Still have the stereotype that China is a copycat, and they do. And second point is that copying is not a bad thing. So if someone start to copy your product or your technology, that means you've done something great. That means it's good. So don't. I often say that if China copy you, then you should celebrate. That means that you are better than them. But if China stop copying you, if China start to innovate, you should be fearful. That means you lose advantage at all. So for me, what you need to do is not to have this fearmonger kind of attitude, but rather to develop a holistic IP strategy. This strategy involves that if everything you have there, they can easily copy, then you got a problem. You got to develop an IP together with your business strategy, business ecosystem, so that they just cannot just copy one thing. If all you got is that one thing, then you got a problem. You got to build a sophisticated system that even they get that core technology, they cannot do something about it. They cannot be very successful. You have to consider, let's say, your whole ecosystem, that they need not just that, like Apple, okay? So people can copy Apple, their phone. They can make an iPhone immediately after the release, but they cannot copy their ecosystem. That's the beauty of the whole Apple, ecosystem. So that's why I tell entrepreneurs, if you always concerned about with your IP, that means you still didn't get it. You still don't have a holistic ecosystem in place so that it's very defensible for your IP strategies for that.
That's really, really good what you just mentioned. But with the interest of time, I would like to thank all of you so much for your sharing and your valuable insights. I'm sure all the founders enjoyed and really got to take notes and will apply the top 3 things that you said they need to do now. So I would like to just quickly share about the Science Park and VivaTech. VivaTech is happening in France, June. We are taking delegation from HKSTP with companies. Emmanuel will be there. We will be there. Please don't be shy to say hi. You can just see the pictures from last year's event. We take companies, make them meet the local players over there, help them do business, connect them with partners, and get going in France. So Global Connect is a digital community where we have more than 5,500 members right now, and all of you are part of it. So soft landing is something we offer from our end. So Emmanuel also mentioned La French Tech offers soft landing. HKSTP also has a soft landing program, which is a 12-month virtual program. That's right. You don't have to be present physically in Hong Kong for this at all. It's a no commitment offer. You can just apply to this program if you have some sort of traction and an MVP, and you just have the interest to expand your business into Hong Kong or China. So what sort of support you will get? You will get co-working spaces, you'll get business matching, investor matching, referrals to commercial partners, and all sort of facilities. So you have 3 milestones to achieve during this duration of the program. The first milestone is for just you to incorporate a local Hong Kong entity, open a Hong Kong bank account, and sign an agreement. You will get 10,000 Hong Kong dollars. After that is where you have to submit a 5-minute pitch video, complete a market validation report, go through some basic online training, and you have to prove you get the product market fit, get some customer traction, and show that Hong Kong is the right market for you. With that, you will get 40,000 Hong Kong dollars. And last but not least, the last milestone is for you to apply and get into one of our incubation programs and fully land physically at the end. That will get you 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. This program is run on a cohort basis, and luckily the next cohort is open right now, and the application is open until June 4th. The deadline is 11:59 p.m. Hong Kong time on June 4th. So please do not miss this window. Apply and just feel if Hong Kong is the right market for you. And the support you get from this program is immense. Let's say from co-working spaces to all this amazing area in Kowloon Tong, you get access to a lot of financial centers, networking events, and you even have an e-learning center where top-notch mentors, industry experts have given various different workshops, classes, and you can take these courses. If you want to hire talent, we have something called the talent pool where you can just post whatever job opening you have. We have more than 16,000 candidates to fill. One more thing we have is called the Tech Exchange. So here it's a business matching platform wherein companies post their solution online, and corporate partners, we have more than 500 corporate partners. They are constantly looking at this platform for solutions they can partner with or finance or merger, acquire, anything. If you can just post what solution you have, corporates will engage with you. And another thing is we have a Shenzhen branch. Hong Kong Science Park also has a Shenzhen branch wherein you can get access for 3 months on a trial period. Go to Shenzhen, experience the local ecosystem, partner with players in mainland China, and form business deals and see how it goes in the local ecosystem in China. So with that, we actually work a lot to access worldwide startup ecosystems. We do 2 things: help companies that are overseas land into Hong Kong, scale into Asia, scale into the GBA area, and help Chinese companies and Hong Kong companies go overseas to all these markets, such as Viva Tech next month. Looking forward to see you all there. And with that, I would like to close today's session. Thank you all so much for joining in. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, Amaury, and Boji, for your sharing. It was wonderful to have you all here. Hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for hosting.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
See you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.